Good afternoon. My name is Elizabeth Schultz. As a mom, I am here to tell you, you have one job. Provide education for the children of Fairfax County with the best degree of academic excellence possible. It is not to expose children to your political or ideological viewpoints. It is not to expose children to critical race theory or to cull their social and emotional learning data by screening them 36 times from grades K through 12 under a contract, no less, to U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland's son-in-law, now worth $2.4 million. And it is not to expose children to sexually explicit material in the classroom or in the library. Let me state clearly, politicizing the education of children is bad. Indoctrinating children to look at each other as oppressors or oppressed, as critical race theory put into practice demands, is bad. Porn for kids is bad. You consistently demonstrate your hostility to parental concerns. You suppress, mock, or wholly ignore the voice of parents. It is the go-to position of this board. You are teaching our children to hate their country. You are teaching our children revisionist history. You are peddling porn to kids in our schools. You do not value diversity unless it is your approved, then compelled definition. You do not value inclusion. You pervert the very meaning of the word by excluding parents who do not toe your ideological line. You do not value equity. You roll over those who have deeply held religious, cultural, or patriotic values. You are destroying our community and our country. We, the people, we, the parents, are mad as hell, and we are not going to take it anymore. Mama bears are fearsome in the defense of their cubs. We are rising up to tell you, in Fairfax, in Loudoun, Prince William, indeed around the country, to tell you and other school boards to knock it off. For years on this board, I fought to increase the visibility of what is in our curriculum, from the classroom curriculum to the family life education, which is not about family, not about life, and not about education, and the increased sexualization of the content presented to minor children. For example, the highly explicit, sexually explicit youth surveys delivered to children in the classroom during school and during time meant for academic instruction, with questions like, how old were you when you had sexual intercourse for the first time? Phrased with leading verbiage that suggests that they have. How old were you during your life, or how many times in your life have you had sexual intercourse? During the last 3 months, how many people have you had sexual intercourse with? Have you had oral sex? If you asked adults these questions in their workplace, you would suffer lawsuits for the invasion of privacy and sexual harassment. Yet, school is a child's workplace. You dare to ask children and make parents opt out. I worked with FCPS leadership to elevate at least the opt-out process and for increased visibility to parents into what their students check out of their school library. Parents can see and even limit what their children get in the school cafeteria, that which feeds their bodies. But in the end, the board and Fairfax County Public Schools leadership would not move forward with an effort that would have allowed parents to see what their children select in the school library, that which feeds their minds and their souls. End your hostility to parents. We are the primary educators and stakeholders in our own child's education, regardless of what U.S. Secretary of Education Miguel Cardona said, diminishing our role as merely important and putting it on the same level as teachers, who he also said were important. Engage the whole community authentically on a review of the porn that is in our schools, in the curriculum, and in the libraries. A handpicked group which merely reflects your ideological views automatically cancels and silences parents' voices again. Publicly reject the National School Board Association that seeks to use the Patriot Act to intervene and investigate us as parents as domestic terrorists. And stop peddling porn to our children. It is child abuse. Stop making our children hate each other. It is racist. Stop teaching our children revisionist history. You are lying to them. Get with it or get out of the way and resign. And by the way, I am not a domestic terrorist. I am a mother, and God has granted me, not you, the duty and the moral obligation to be the primary educator of my own children. And with that, I would like to close by reading the Virginia Parents' Bill of Rights. We, the parents of the Commonwealth of Virginia, are the primary educators of our own children. We unequivocally assert the following rights in the service of our sacred duty to raise our children in a manner that equips them and prepares them for a future of engaged and honorable citizenship. Number one, the right to make academic decisions for our children. The right, number two, to make medical decisions for our children. Number three, the right to a safe school environment for our children. Number four, the right to schools free from ideological coercion and other forms of psychological abuse. Number five, the right to full-time, in-person education for our children. Number six, the right to a representative and responsive school board, which you are not. And number seven, the right to move our children to schools that recognize our rights. Thank you.